kung fu.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name is Deshaun and today I am here with an action classic. Now, this is a great action classic. It's one of the all-time great action movies, legendary movie by a legendary action director, John Woo's Hard Boiled, starring Chow Yun-fat and Tony Leung. And like, it is weird going back and watching this movie because seeing a young Chow Yun-fat and a young Tony Leung is just so weird. Because, you know, we just saw Tony Leung in Shang-Chi. So it is so funny watching this movie back again. This movie is in many ways revolutionary. Now, John Woo had already done movies with Chow Yun-fat before. One of his great movies, another movie that I'll review sooner or later on this, is The Killers. There's a couple movies he directed, but The Killers is the big one. And he had already directed a few movies in the vein of Hard Boiled, but Hard Boiled is the iconic one. Hard Boiled is the one that stands out from the John Woo catalog. Now, John Woo would go on to direct things like Face Off and Mission Impossible 2 and other movies, but I don't think he ever really did a movie that really launched him like this. Like, The Killers, arguably, which once again is another movie I might review, some people might say it's his best movie, but to me, no movie he ever directed was quite as iconic as Hard Boiled. It launched Chow Yun-fat. I think Tony Leung was already, Chow Yun-fat was already right. Both these guys were rising, but it's like the movie. Like, when you think Chow Yun-fat, this is the movie you think. This is the movie you think when you think Chow Yun-fat. Is this movie, is Hard Boiled. This badass Hong Kong, beats to his own drum, just hard-nosed cop. And it's such a, and like, I can get into some of the more revolutionary slash, I say revolutionary because this movie is kind of like the John Wick of its era, because John Woo was the first action director. Really, there was other action directors. I'm not gonna say he was the first. There were other action directors that did bring something unique and something different and tell a different and have their own style. But for the most part, most cop movies, I'm talking like pure cops, guys with guns shooting at other guys with guns, they would mix it up with the genre, they might mix it up with the casting, they did a lot of things, but the actual filming and artistry of directing action, I don't think any other movie, it's like this, The Matrix, and like John Wick, really pushed the artistry of directing action. There are shots in this movie and things in this movie that still hold up to this day as just some top tier action shit. Now, the story itself follows Chow Yun-fat's cop, Tequila. Tequila is a detective working out of Hong Kong investigating these illegals, arms dealers. And while he's investigating that, unfortunately, he loses his partner. In the first opening, 20 minutes of the movie, a shootout breaks out, his partner dies, and now he is mad. And now he was hard-boiled, hard-pressed to find who did this no matter what. And he'll find the dealer, and he'll take them down. But along the way, he discovers that there's an undercover cop played by Tony Leung named Alan, who is so deeply embedded into the triads that even most of the other cops, including Tequila, have no clue who he is until midway through the movie. So we really follow both of these characters. Now, Tony Leung's character is actually the more complicated character because he's having this crisis of conscience type deal. We've all seen the Undercover movie. We've seen The Departed. We've seen movies like that where at a certain point the undercover cop gets a little too attached to the gang that he's a part of. maybe he meets a few people in the organization that aren't so bad, like things around that nature. Same thing, like, and now while we don't see the history of Tony Leung's character Alan and his relationship with that boss, with the arms dealer that he was infiltrating, we get the overly abundance of, we just get the feeling that he really felt connected to them. And when a sequence, and eventually when he has to kill them, it really hurts him, but he can't blow his cover. And there's this interesting thing going on with Tony Leung's character of Alan, where he is conflicted, he is lost. He's been undercover for so long that, like he says, most people don't even remember who he is anymore. He doesn't even remember who he is anymore because going undercover in the triads is like a 24/7 thing. So it's one of those things where even in his own mind, he's like, what happens when I get to the end of this undercover work? Like, who am I? Where do I go do with myself? Like, I'm lonely. I don't know what to do with myself after all this is said and done. And he's just wondering if it was all worth it. Is all this undercover shit, is giving up my life and doing this worth it? Meanwhile, you got, obviously, Tequila, Chow Yun-Fat's character, who's just, once again, the hard-boiled detective. I'm going to find who killed my partner no matter what. I'm going to do whatever it takes. If I got to rough some people up, if I got to do this, if I got to do that, I'm going to do it. If I gotta be a one-man raid all on my own, I'm gonna do it. Now, all that pisses me off in this movie is the miscommunication. Now, I get it, because Chow Yun-Fat's direct head captain knows that Alan is undercover, but he won't tell him. So like Chow Yun-Fat's, so Tequila's going through half the movie thinking this dude's responsible for the death of his fucking partner. Now, granted, they square it away, they figure out what's going on, and they kind of move on from that very quickly. But still, that whole situation with him not telling him that Alan is an undercover cop, I get it, it was like classified shit, but it's like, dude, you know who he is, you know how Tequila gets, why are you keeping this from him? You know this dude don't give a fuck. And I love how John Woo is not the most subtle man in the world. John Woo as a director is like Spike Lee of action. It is in your fucking face. It is in your face. Like how Spike Lee is pretty blunt with a social message. John Woo is really blunt about pretty much all the things he wants you to know. When he wants you to know someone's important, you'll see slow motion. You'll see stop. You'll see them walking in. You'll see shadow. You'll see like the sun on them, the shadow on them, the way he shoots them. Like, he wants you to know this is an important character. The way he shoots them, the things he does, the camera work he does around them, he wants you to know. And also how he dresses. Chow Yun-Fat's Tequila, it's like, if you're wondering, like, there's this joke in anime that if you're wondering who the main protagonist is, there's two things you should look at. He's either the most boring looking plain motherfucker in the show, or he has the most extravagant Yu-Gi-Oh! Like hair. But Chow Yun-Fat does that with the fact that every other cop in the entire movie, is dressed like a cop. All the detectives are dressed up, suit and tie, but not Tequila. Tequila's in there looking like a bum. Now, don't get me wrong, he doesn't look like he's just like, okay, yeah, actually, no, never mind, I take it back. He does. He just looks like a bum. He looks tired, just like a bum, and just like, everybody else is in here, like, fucking trying to do their jobs, and he's sitting here reading newspapers and shit. Like, it's so clear, like he has big main protagonist energy. Tequila has big main protagonist energy. Just the way they, go about him and the way he interacts with every other cop is like, it's clear. Like he's not that he doesn't care, but he's like, I'm above this. I've been doing this long enough. I got this shit down. I don't gotta come here dressed up. I do my job well. Fuck you if you don't wear a suit and tie. Fuck off. Like, I love his attitude. Like I say, hard boiled. And that's fun. It's funny because him and Tony Leung are like complete opposites. Tony Leung driving a nice car. He's always dressed up. Head to toe in, expensive looking clothes. I like the dichotomy between the two. And the whole movie escalates into this huge, awesome, glorious fight sequence at a hospital. This movie, like I said, it's one of the most iconic action movies of all time. It revolutionized action to a certain extent, in the same vein that The Matrix and that John Wick did. There are some sequences in here that are jaw-dropping. There's one particular sequence that when I was watching it, I was geeking out. Not even gonna front. I was like, dude, I forgot how awesome this sequence is. There's this one-shot take near the end of the movie in the hospital, because as it turns out, the arms dealers have their guns under a hospital. Well, whatever. But there's this one shot with Alan and Tequila going down a hall, and they are fucking them up. Bang, bang, just shotgun blast. I mean, look, it's old school. I mean, this movie will fuck up your perception of what guns are supposed to do. Every time a shotgun goes off, it's an explosive round. When someone's shooting a pistol, it basically it shoots them across the room. I mean, collateral damage out the ass. Oh my God. And this is one of the few movies that just they just acknowledge that they shot a cop, and they're just like, hey, it happens. Like, this movie is just like, it's not that they don't acknowledge the collateral damage. They're just like, shit happens, man. We gotta get the bad guy, and he was like, I didn't mean to, so it makes it like, what? Like, it's nuts. It's nuts. This movie is just pedal to the metal, hardcore. And it is even an actual really fun cop movie on top of being this awesome action movie. I give Hard Boiled a 10 out of 10. I loved it, dude. I loved Hard Boiled. Now, I only had seen it one other time before I watched it today, and it's a treat, dude. As an action movie, it's a 10 out of 10. The three action sequences, the first one at the beginning of the movie, and the one, there's three action sequences in this movie that are they're just all-timers, man. I just don't know what to tell you. This is some of the best action I've ever seen. And I'm just like, damn. Too bad Hollywood washed John Woo out, because once he came over here, he kind of toned down basically all his over-the-top shit. He toned it way down. But anyways, thank you guys for watching the Cop Get Movie Show. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. What do you guys think of Hard Boiled? Comment below and let me know. Thank you guys again. Goodbye.